If you're a slow traveler or looking to retire within the next 2 to 5 years and travel the world, this video might help you decide whether Southeast Asia should be on your retirement shortlist. After spending some time in Southeast Asia and traveling through different countries, what I realized is there's more than just cost of living and savings in Southeast Asia that draws a lot of retirees and slow travelers. And today I'm going to go over 9 reasons why retirees and slow travelers are choosing Southeast Asia over different regions of the world. I'll share the biggest reasons retirees and long-term travelers are drawn to Southeast Asia. And number 9 might surprise you. It definitely surprised me. The number 1 reason retirees choose Southeast Asia is the low cost of living. You just cannot beat Southeast Asia cost of living, the housing, the accommodation, and food. Everything costs a lot less, especially if you're coming from countries with stronger currencies like the US, North America, or even UK and Canada. Your currency will go a lot farther in Southeast Asia, where you might be able to afford the quality of life that you can afford back home without spending so much money. You tell me where in North America or in the US, where I'm from, you can live on $2,000 to $2,500 a month for 2 people, having a great quality of life, eating out every day, doing excursions and travels and cruises, staying in fancy hotels, and buying pretty much whatever you would like, and getting weekly massages and meeting new people, discovering new places and eating new food, just so much better quality of life. And tell me where in the US you can do that within 2 or 3 grand a month. It is unheard of. Now, a lot of these Southeast Asian countries, if you have a budget of 2 to 3 grand, pretty much you can live a very nice and comfortable life because the housing is not that expensive. Food is not that expensive. The transportation is not that expensive, especially if you get rid of your US properties or cars and things like that. You don't have mortgage. You don't have car payments. You don't have the health insurance is more affordable. You don't have all these other fees that, nickel and dime you, even during retirement. Even if you have a paid off house, you have property tax, you have insurance, and it goes up every single year. And your car, property tax and car insurance, and things just does not stop. And then the rise of cost of groceries that are going up, in healthcare, God forbid, if you have any health scares in the US, even with Medicare, it's still questionable whether you can afford the quality of healthcare you're looking for within a reasonable budget. But over in Southeast Asia, there's tons of places where you can live comfortably within, somewhere around 2 to 3 grand a month. And that's for single person. And I've seen tons of couple also do it within 2 to 3 grand a month. Okay, number 2, it really surprised me. Before I went on this journey, I didn't expect this. I'm used to what I'm used to in the United States: high health insurance premium, high out-of-pocket expenses, and God forbid anything happens to you health-wise, you cannot afford to get sick. Since we started traveling through Southeast Asia, between me and my husband, we've had all kinds of health expenses come up. And that includes, we had dental work done, we had dental cleaning, even tooth whitening service. We've had major surgery, emergency surgery, a trip to the urgent care, refilling prescriptions. Also, we've had full health checkup and pretty much a little bit of everything that you can imagine coming up while you're traveling on the road has happened to us in Southeast Asia. And I am surprised and shocked how affordable the healthcare in Southeast Asia is. For the quality of the service, quality of the facilities, the doctors were well trained, and just the care that you receive, it is absolutely amazing. The speed of service, you go get a checkup, within the next day, you're seeing a specialist. And then within the next week, you have a surgery scheduled to take care of whatever problem you might have. And within the same day or later, you're going and picking up a prescription. You can get an appointment within the same day or the next day. And these facilities are top notch. I didn't even know what to expect before I left the US. I know that I did not have a very high expectation of healthcare and facilities and services, if at all. I just figured, we've been told for many, many years that US has the best healthcare and services. And so after traveling and after receiving all these health services and different treatments and surgery, from preventive healthcare to emergency surgery, it has really it's opened a new opportunity for me to not worry about healthcare costs while traveling, not worry about healthcare costs, especially in Southeast Asia, Thailand and Vietnam. Vietnam has great healthcare facilities. They're trained, very affordable. Thailand is a big medical tourism spot. So is Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur has one of the world-class best healthcare services you can receive, and they're all in Southeast Asia region. And so that's another reason why a lot of retirees and slow travelers are choosing Southeast Asia region for their healthcare as you get older. Some places in, Thailand has amazing assistant care where you can, retirement homes, where you can have pretty much live in a nice facility like a resort by the beach and have 24-hour care. People come and, they cook and clean for you and they do medical checkups and take you to appointments. They have fitness classes and activities all on ground, on campus, specialty classes for retirees and older people, pretty much anything you want. Compare that to a nursing home care or a full home care price in the US. That is, for the most part, unless you are really wealthy, it is very hard to afford those kind of levels of care as you get older in the US. So Southeast Asia offers one of the best, most affordable healthcare and retiring care when it comes to health situations and home care as well as you get older. All right, number 3 is no surprise to everybody. The food you can find in Southeast Asia is absolutely amazing in a lot of countries. I did not expect Vietnamese food to be so good and so healthy at the same time, as well as, if you go to a large city and like Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh, you can find Western food options, pretty much whatever you want. There's a very diverse food scene. So you won't miss for the kind of food you want, but most of the time they eat a lot of vegetables and fresh fruits and vegetables you can find in Vietnam. That really surprised me. Of course, Thailand has amazing food, and any of the really Southeast Asia region countries and you go to and try some of the local food, it's absolutely amazing and affordable as well. So food is, of course, another reason why a lot of retirees and slow travelers choose Southeast Asia. Now, number 4 is convenience. Conveniences and services, pretty much whatever service you like for expats or for slow travelers, it has been built and those services are there. And you just have to, figure out where to find them, like watching other YouTube videos from other travelers and retirees who are going to these places and look at what facilities, what services they would recommend based on review and actual experiences as well. But convenience is amazing. You can pretty much get food delivery within, 30 minutes. You can get your food and it's actually warm and it's pretty much amazing. And it's very affordable compared to Uber Eats or, some of the food delivery services that we have experienced in the US. You can call a service, whatever you're looking for, you can pretty much find in Southeast Asia. Now, number 5 reason why a lot of retirees and slow travelers choose Southeast Asia is the warm weather. If you have some health problems like arthritis and things like that, where it helps to be in warmer weather, and some of the health problems go away, like inflammation and things like that, it gets better in a warmer weather and sunshine. And I've also found that both me and my husband, our seasonal allergies has gone away once we started traveling in Southeast Asia. We would always have seasonal allergies, pretty bad ones in the US. And he has asthma as well. And we've not had any trouble in Southeast Asia. The weather, I think it does help with different conditions. And number 6 is people are friendly in Southeast Asia. Culturally, these are hospitable, friendly, kind to visitors, kind to people, and especially for older people, culturally, they respect older people and elders compared to some of the European countries or North America. And there's a lot of reason why people like the culture. People are just chill and relaxed, peaceful, and they are kind to foreigners and they're kind to each other. People are friendly and everybody, not every country in the world is like that, but a lot of the Southeast Asia region, you can find the commonality of people are just nice and friendly, even if you're our visitor. All right, number 7. This one I also didn't expect as well. And this is modern infrastructure. I don't know why we believe in North America, in the United States, as probably because of the media and what we consume, the news and things like that are been messaging and brainwashing us, saying that these countries are third world countries and, they don't have modern advances and they don't have modern infrastructure. And yes, there are places that are like that, but that's just not different than you live in Podunk somewhere in the boonies in the US and you're living off the grid or, live in the middle of a forest or whatever in a cabin. There's always places like that in different countries. But for larger cities and big hubs in Southeast Asia, take Bangkok, take Ho Chi Minh, take Hanoi, take Kuala Lumpur, take Manila, Cebu, wherever you go to, these countries have modern infrastructure, high tech, high advanced science, high healthcare. It's just ridiculous. Like if you spend a few months in Bangkok and then, ride the subway, ride the BTS, and go compare that to, let's say, a big city like Chicago or New York, sit in the subway and see the difference of what a difference it is in terms of how clean and efficient and, nice things are and how advanced things are in Bangkok and compared to some of the places that we think we are so advanced. Go see it yourself. That's the only way to know. And I had to see it for myself, to be honest. And, I just was constantly surprised every time I find myself in these places like Icon. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a mall like this in the United States. I've been to the Mall of America many times. I've been to some of the, big hubs and different places, but there's nothing like this exists. I mean, where's the bed theater in the United States? It doesn't exist. So that is a big myth that we've been taught somehow, that a lot of these countries don't have the modern infrastructure. No, they actually do. Go experience it yourself. And so that modern infrastructure provides the efficiency of whatever convenience you're looking for. It's just like places like Bangkok right now is so easy to live in. You can just pretty much get to anywhere in the city through BTS or the MRT or whatever, grab, and there's a boat taxi and there's, it's just, so the modern conveniences and infrastructure are all there. Number 8 is safety. A lot of retirees and slow travelers choose Southeast Asia because of this, how safe it is. You can, you don't have to worry about getting mugged or whatever you're worried about in the US for your safety or carjacking, things like that. You hardly hear about those things. And other travelers I have conversed with also says, yeah, we just don't look over our shoulders anymore in places like Thailand or Vietnam. And now there's, petty theft. And, if you start flashing a bunch of $100 bills in the market like a crazy person, yeah, you might attract some people with bad intentions, but it's just common sense. But if you're in general just cautious of your surroundings and be aware of where you're at and what you're doing and who you're with, things like that, it's very safe. You don't feel unsafe anywhere in Southeast Asia, compared to the crime rate. It's not even comparable. So like even solo travelers can come and don't feel like they're somehow in physical environment where it's unsafe. Number 9, the very last reason, I did not expect this at all, and this was a very pleasant surprise, is Southeast Asia region provides the ability to slow down and live with a lot less stress, if any, because people are not cussing each other out on the road. And there's not this constant rush that we experience back home. And we're not constantly hustling. And you can actually feel like you can slow down and breathe and be a human being instead of human doing. And that was a very pleasant surprise for me. I talk about it in detail in another video that I've made. I'll link that above as well. And that one was just absolutely mind-boggling for me that, wow, I didn't even know that I needed this until I got here, until I started slowing down, until I started, getting rid of all the hustle and bustle. And that freed up a lot of mental space, and that freed up a lot of, and just being able to be less rushed, less stressed, less under pressure is just an amazing feeling. And you really don't experience it. It takes about 2-3 months for your body to kind of slow down and adjust and finally feel safe. Your nervous system initially is so tight and holding on for your dear life like you're used to. And it took a while for all of that in my nervous system to slow down and go, oh, let's take a deep breath. I'm not in a rush anymore. I'm not hustling and bustling anymore. I can actually slow down and listen to my body and breathe and just relax and not be about the whole stress. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yeah. So that was a very, very surprising thing for me. And a lot of retirees and early retirees and slow travelers are also discovering the pace of life is a lot slower and easy to deal with in Southeast Asia. And couple that with all the other reasons I've mentioned, nicer, friendly people and conveniences and just general culture that is more welcoming and kind and slower pace of life, it really makes a huge difference. So thanks for staying with me. Hopefully these reasons give you something to think about. And let me know in the comments if you could retire anywhere in Southeast Asia, where would you retire and why?